Welcome right back to beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, here at Orleans Arena for a matchup in the third day of the WCC Tournament. Washington State's going to take on Loyola Marymount LMU for this matchup in the WCC Tournament. My name is Josiah Frank, and I'm here with Davis Hagen. And Davis, before we kind of get into some pregame talk, talking about matchups and rosters, Davis, just how excited are you finally now we get to call some WSU basketball?
Yeah, there's nothing more exciting than conference tournament basketball in March, and nothing more exciting than Washington State conference tournament basketball in March. It should be a fantastic matchup this evening, and the first couple of games that we've been fortunate enough to call for KUGR that haven't been Washington State related have been absolute thrillers, and if this one's even half as good as those ones have been, we're in for a real treat tonight from Orleans Arena.
Yeah, we cannot wait. LMU, as we take a kind of peek at some rosters and some matchups, LMU beating San Diego yesterday, gaining 100 points kind of in that final tally of the game. And looking at WSU's roster first, the starting lineup, we're going to have Ethan Price, Lawan Watts, Nate Calmes, Isaiah Watts, and Dane Erickstrip. And kind of the star watch, we're going to talk about a key matchup between a player on each of our teams, Lawan Watts, who was WCC honorable mention a selection this year. And he's been a great player for the Cougs. He's been able to kind of been very consistent throughout the season. And then looking at the LMU side of the roster sheet, for the starters for them, the Lions have Will Johnson, Javon Porter, Rick Asanza, Alex Merrick Delatze, Caleb Stone Carrawell. And looking at the star for them really was Will Johnston. And David, that's who I really want to harp on. Of course, we are all about Cougar basketball here. But, we talked about Lawan Watts all year long, and we're thinking about this matchup. We watched Will Johnson yesterday put on an all-star performance. He put on 27 points against the University of San Diego. And yes, they didn't have an amazing team, only winning about 2 conference games all season long. But Will Johnson did not want to have any of that. Put up 27 points by himself, 7 of 8 from behind the arc. Davis, how do you think he's going to be a factor in this game, and how does WSU have to stop him? Will Johnson, that's the name.
Yeah, he's going to be the name that's probably going to be called a lot today. Yesterday, he was fantastic. He was shooting lights out from the three-point line. Then there was nothing better than watching him just shoot the ball. But tonight, that's not what Washington State wants to see. He's a guy that can get going hot, but he's also a guy that can be really ice cold. The first matchup of the year, he didn't score at all. He played 22 minutes, didn't have a single bucket. And so definitely a guy that can get hot. And yesterday we saw he scored 27 points on 7 of 8 3-point shooting. But in that first matchup, no points at all. So Washington State probably going to get somewhere in the middle, hopefully, is what they're going to be trying to stop Will Johnson from getting to that 27-point mark. But I imagine he's not going to go scoreless again against the Cougars tonight.
No, absolutely. And just in this previous game, we watched another person who's been heating up, Mo Odom. He had another good game for Pepperdine. But, yeah, it's definitely a tale on who is going to heat up and who is going to heat up early. And then looking on the flip side for Cougar basketball, we're looking at Lawan Watts. Right now averaging 13 points a game, 6.6 rebounds. He's one of those many transfers from Eastern Washington with the David Riley crew. How do you think he is going to be a factor if WSU wants to get a commanding win and move on to Sunday for the next day of the tournament?
Yeah, coming into this season, it was Cedric Coward. That was the guy that was going to be the man for Washington State. He was a preseason all-WCC player. And then when he goes down just 6 games into the year, Lawan Watts steps into that role of being the lead man. Nate Calmes does lead the team in scoring, but he also has the most shots. So Lawan Watts is going to have to be the guy that goes through and tries to be the star tonight for Washington State. And if he has a great game, Washington State will have a great game. But if he doesn't, it could be the end of the season for Washington State. But Lawan Watts is definitely the player to watch tonight.
We cannot wait. We are going to have tons of Cougar basketball today. We're just getting started right now with these lineups. And Davis, just before we're about to get started here for tip-off, we're going to look at some of these keys of the game. And the first one I really want to talk about is guard play. We just talked a ton about Will Johnston, but kind of looking at the WSU side, talking about Nate Calmes. the University of Washington transfer. He's averaging 17 a game, 3 rebounds a game, 4 assists. But really, those point totals have been a big help for the Cougar offense. How do you think that's going to come into a factor?
It's going to be the best matchup of the evening. We saw a great guard matchup with Minor and Odom in the Pepperdine Oregon State game earlier, but this matchup between Johnston and Calmeese is going to be fantastic, coming off 27 points from Johnston and Calmeese being the leading scorer for Washington State. It's going to be a really thrilling matchup to see who can have the upper hand in this game tonight.
We cannot wait to see it. And then also, Davis really wanted to look at something that has been an Achilles heel for Washington State. It has been turnovers. So kind of looking on how they not only limit turnovers, but can at least just decrease it a little bit. You know, WSU right now, one of the worst teams in the country, actually one of the 10 worst teams in the country when it comes over to turnovers. How do you think that's going to play in this game if they really want to stick out here with a win?
Yeah, you have to limit turnovers. And even in that first matchup of the year, one of LMU's worst performances of the season, and Washington State still outturned the ball over them, and they had 18 turnovers. LMU just had 16. So even in a game like that, Washington State continues to turn the ball over. They've averaged 14.8 turnovers per game, 346th in the country. And as you mentioned, there's only 9 teams worse than them in the entire country, and those are some of the teams that have 2 or 3 wins on the season. So Washington State, if they limit the turnovers, their offense is great. They're a top 70 offense in the country. Their assists are the top 30 in the country. So a really talented squad, but they shoot themselves in the foot more times than they don't.
Turnovers have definitely been not only an Achilles heel, but just a killer for the Cougs altogether. And then I think finally we really have to touch briefly on is kind of rest versus rust. So, you know, right now WSU has not played a basketball game, but LMU, you know, beating San Diego with a commanding, you know, great win. They won over 20 plus and putting up 100 total points, which you don't really see that a ton in college basketball. That's kind of more NBA pro numbers. How do you think rest and rust is going to come into this game? Do you think WSU maybe had a little bit too much rest, kind of trickling into Vegas? Or do you think kind of rusty, how is LMU going to handle that as they just played yesterday and they don't have a ton of rest, looking on the flip side?
Yeah, LMU coming off a hot game against San Diego where they put up over 100 points. It's really hard to play for Washington State when you come off a game where LMU just had a really nice game. You haven't played since last Saturday. That's a hard thing to do, especially in basketball where teams get hot like that. And we saw it last year with NC State in the NCAA tournament. They won 7 games in 7 days. In the ACC tournament, went all the way to the Final Four. Those kind of things just happen in March. And the teams that they play typically have a lot of rest coming into that game. Washington State's kind of in that same boat where they're coming off a game on last Saturday, although it was a great game where they beat Pepperdine. They haven't played for a week. So how will this team kind of function after staying in a hotel in Vegas? That's hard to do coming in off a flight. It's going to be an interesting thing to watch, but I think Washington State ultimately is going to benefit from this rest, and I hope they don't come out rusty, but it's something to watch these first couple of minutes. About the first 4 minutes to the first media timeout, it's going to be really interesting to see what the score is at that point in the game to see if they came out with rest or if they came out rusty.
And Davis, I got one last question for you. We've seen countless times through this tournament. This is our 4th game that we've already called. There has been all-stars and people that have stepped up countless time after time and time again. Will Johnson is one of those. Will Odom for Pepperdine is one of them. If you could choose someone right now on this WC roster, who do you think can step up in a big-time game like this one?
I think it's got to be Isaiah Watts, the lone holdover from last year's NCAA tournament team that actually played valuable minutes. Parker Garrett was on that team last year but didn't make an appearance. Isaiah Watts has to be the guy for Washington State. He didn't play in that first meeting against LMU back on December 30th in Spokane, where they got their first WCC conference win ever. So Isaiah Watts is back in the lineup after missing a lot of time with an injury. I think he's got to be the crucial player tonight for Washington State.
Davis, I am so excited that we're finally get to watch some Cougar tournament basketball, and we are about to get underway here. We are nearly ready for tip-off. Getting ready with these final festivities. And Davis, are Are you seeing like maybe any like atmosphere? Is it a little more packed in here? I'm seeing a lot of Crimson as well, maybe a lot of fans. What are you kind of seeing in here?
Definitely a lot more fans than yesterday when that Portland-Pepperdine game was going, and then LMU San Diego. A lot more fans here. A lot of Cougs, a lot of Crimson in the crowd, and it's a really, really great environment. That Pepperdine game and Oregon State game was really good, but a lot more fans in this arena, and the energy is at an all-time high at Orleans Arena.
We're going to have Ethan Price tipping off for the Cougs, as well as it looks like Asanza. We can't really see behind the final like goalpost of the backboard, but Asanza, the 7'1", 245-pound center from the Republic of Congo, going to be a matchup with the 6'11" Ethan Price. The Cougs in their all white with their crimson lettering, and LMU kind of in the opposite with kind of their cherry darker red with white and teal lettering. We are about to get started here for the jump off. Just waiting for the officials to toss up the ball. The buzzers sound, the tip is up, and it's going to be Johnson that's going to end up with it for LMU. 0-0 all, and this ball game is just started. Johnson guarded heavily by Calmes. He's going to swing it over to Asanza. Gives it back over to Mercaveladze. Over to Porter. Porter back to Johnson at the left wing, guarded by Watts. Watts back over to Porter. He's going to pull up for a three. Rattles in and out. Going to be a rebound by LaJuan Watts. Gives it back over to Nate Calmes. Washington transfer. We'll see how this guard matchup plays out. Watts back over to Calmes. Gives it back to him. Right to Ethan Price, who's going to go straight to the cup. Gets fouled, and he's going to go to the stripe. Look to be Mercaveladze. Foul Price going up for the two.
Yeah, good cut from Ethan Price right to the basket. Had his head ready for the ball. He was looking at it and caught it, and now he's going to the free throw line. Excellent play, because sometimes those players make the cut and they're not looking for the ball, and that's when turnovers happen, and a good job by Washington State to already get to the free throw line.
Price trying to put in the first couple baskets for the Cougs. His first, his front iron no good. Still 0-0 game.
Washington State does not shoot the free throw all that well. They're number 218 in the country, just 71% as a team.
His second one also rattles in and out. Maybe free throws might be a contender this game. Johnson's going to bring up the rock for the Lions. Johnson, quick handoff to Mercaveladze. Mercaveladze fakes a fadeaway, gives it right back over to Johnson, swings over to Porter. Porter to Stone Carrawell. Stone Carrawell looking into the post, pushes Isaiah Watts into the key, and that's going to be an offensive foul. Easy call for the official, that little push-off. It's going to be Cougar basketball.
Good positioning from Isaiah Watts, and then just take the blow from Stone Carrawell and then hit the deck, and already a good start for Washington State. No points yet, but a good job on the first couple possessions.
LMU in a 1-2-2 press. Calmes going to break it with LaJuan Watts. Kick out to Eric Tripp, corner three, rattles in and out. No one can grab the rebound. Asanza for LMU tried to dive for it as was going out of bounds. But it looked maybe his foot was on that baseline. Yep, it's going to be white ball. Cougars are going to have it. Coug ball, Calmes on the left side of the baseline. Inbounds to Price. He's going to pull up for a little 10-footer, and that's going to be the first basket of the game. 2-0, 18:44 left in this game. Johnston screaming up the court, passing the division line, guarded by Calmes. Swings over to Porter. Porter over to Stone Carrawell. Back over to Johnson, left wing, looking for a screen by Sansa. Uses it, kicks out to Porter, fakes a three, drives baseline. Big kick out to Stone Carrawell for a corner three. Right iron, no good. Rebound Watts. LaJuan Watts screaming up the court as well with his white headband. Makes a nice little move, cuts to the cup, but misses the lay. Gets his own rebound. Tries to put it back up, and he's going to get fouled. Took the officials maybe a second to blow that whistle. and it looks like he's going to go to the stripe.
Yeah, going to the free throw line once again. Washington State over 2. The Ethan Price misses, and then he made up for it with that excellent short corner jumper. See if Lawan Watts can have a better fortune at the free throw line for his first attempts.
Lawan Watts averaging around 14 points a game. We'll love to see if someone can step up for this Cougar squad. It's been a common theme in this WCC tournament. His first free throw is down Main Street, goes in, extends the Cougs lead 3-zip, 18-14 in this first half. Lawan Watts, his second. That one's going to be back iron, no good. Rebound, Merkvalatse. Johnson over to Porter, the brother of Michael Porter Jr. in the NBA. Sanzig's going to give it in the post, but kicked it back over to Porter. Porter to Merkvalatse. Merkvalatse, Stone Carrawell. Johnson's going to end up with it. He's going to fire up a 3. No good. Great rebound by Lawan Watts. He's going to take it coast to coast. Great screen by Eric Strip. Looking to kick it back out. Eric Strip's going to end up with a rock. Crosses the free throw line, loses the basketball, and Stone Carraway is going to end up with it. Stone Carraway ends up with Johnson. He's going to fake a 3. Carves into the cup, kick out Porter. His 3, no good. Rebound, Cal Meeks. Quick tempo from both teams. Cal Meeks swings it over to Isaiah Watts. Isaiah's going to pull it back out. Look into Cal Meeks, who's going to reset up the offense. Cal Meeks gives it to Isaiah. Pump fakes another 3. A nice bounce pass over to Lawan Watts, who tries to jam it in, misses the dunk. Price is going to end up with it and secures a 3 after a very near bad miss from Lawan Watts off that single-handed dunk. Johnston, hounded by Cal Meeks, swings it over to Merkvalatse. He's going to put in the first points for LMU. Cougs still lead by 3, 6-3 ball game, 16:53 left in this game. Cal Meeks, Eric Strick gives it to Price. Left short corner in the post, guarded by Porter. He's going to pull it out, though. Not really a huge post player. Gives it to Cal Meeks. His 3 balls also going to be good. 9-3 ball game, 16:37 left. Stone Carraway on the other end. Gives it to Porter. Fakes a 3. Trying to size up Isaiah Watts. Definitely a mixed match in size. Big kick out to Merkvalatse. His 3's no good, but rebound by Porter. Porter and Watts in the post. Double team. Couple kicks out. Stone Carraway another 3. That one's also going to be left iron. Lawan Watts is going to end up with a rebound outlet to Cal Meeks. Cal Meeks pushing the tempo. Carves in the cup. Fakes it and kicks it out over to Eric Schiff for a 3. No good. Rebound to Sansa. The Sansa's going to give it off to Johnston. Bringing up the ball for the Lions. Okafor at the scores table trying to check in. Porter hucks up a 3 of his own. Also no good. A lot of misses. 3 straight missed 3s by the Lions. Cal Meeks looking to set something up for the Cougar offense. We're within or nearing 15 minutes of this first half. Cougs leading 9-3. Eric Strick gives it over to Price. Left corner, guarded heavily by Merkvalatse. Now Isaiah Watts is going to touch the ball. He's going to huck up a big 3 as the shot clock was dwindling. He's going to get fouled. He's going to get 3, but we're going to have the first of a couple media timeouts as Isaiah Watts after this timeout will go to the free throw line. And Davis, kind of what's first impressions of these first about 5 or so minutes of WSU basketball, which we haven't seen here in a little while.
Right, they haven't played since Saturday, and I really like the way they've started this game, up 9-3 against LMU, shooting the 3 ball pretty well and getting to the free throw line effectively. Isaiah Watts going to have 3 free throws. We've seen that a couple times in the first 2 games we've seen here tonight. It's kind of an interesting thing where it's the biggest pet peeve of all coaches to not foul a 3-point shooter, and we've seen it more than once. And Isaiah Watts is going to have a couple of free throws. Washington State is doing a really good job staying connected together on the defensive side, and only 3 points from LMU, and it came from Merkvalatse, who's a really good shooter. He had 16 points against San Diego, so really good start from Washington State. Can they keep it up, though? That's going to be the question. Is early on, you get that adrenaline going from all the atmosphere and being in Las Vegas, but how can they continue to play effectively as a team?
Yeah, Isaiah Watts, the West Seattle native, who's definitely stepped up in some very big games, you know, thinking about this season as especially last year being the only returning Letterman winner from that team that made it to the big dance and making it to the second round of the tournament. Tournament. So he's definitely not unfamiliar to big moments such as these ones, and we'll see how it plays out. We're going to take a quick little break and be right back with you to finish this media timeout with more Cougar basketball here on KUGR. We are right back in Las Vegas, Nevada. Beautiful sunny city here for this WCC matchup between the Washington State Cougars and Loyola Marymount Lions. Isaiah Watts now is at the free throw line for 3 free throws. The first one he will knock down, extends the Cougs lead now to 7. It's a 10-3 ball game just within 4.5 minutes of this first half. His second is also good as well. 11-3. Cougs leading. Cougs right now on a commanding lead. Watts' last free throw of the shot is going to rattle over and in. Rainbows in as Porter's going to inbound for the Lions. He's going to give it over to V-Day and back over to Amy Jr. Amy Jr. is going to give it right back to V-Day. V-Day's bringing the rock for the Lions. Lions are going to kind of pass it around the arc, trying to get something going. Stone Carrawell is going to end up with it. Porter now, a little dish off, easy over to McBride, and he is going to get fouled. Foul to look to be on Andy Okafor, who checked in with a flurry of other players.
That's the first team foul for the Cougars to the line.
Throstison as well checking in for the Cougs, as well as Parker Garrett. Giving some of those WSU Cougar starters a breather. McBride, first free throw, back iron, no good. Cougs still leading 12-3, 15:04 left in this first half.
Yeah, only the first foul on Washington State on that ND Okafor foul. LMU already up to 4 fouls in this early, almost 5 minutes into this first half.
McBride's second one is down Broadway and adds another point. Cougs leading 12-4. Garrett's bringing up the ball for the Cougs. Hands it over to Watts. Watts trying to make something happening. Quick handoff over to Ethan Price. Price kicks it out to Throstison. Throstison back over to Watts. Over to Price. Gives it to Garrett. Now he's on the left wing. 10 on the shot clock. Throstison's going to end up with it. Price is going to put up a 3. Top of the key, no good. That's going to be a quick rebound by Amy. Amy Jr. outlet to Porter. Porter looking quick back over to V-Day. V-Day spin move on Lawan Watts. Puts up a 5-footer. It's going to get fouled by Watts. Kind of a little bit of a late whistle, and he's going to go back to the line.
Second team foul.
Isaiah Watts' first foul in this ball game. One of the few starters still in right now.
Number 7, Young. V-Day, 2.
V-Day's going to shoot 2. 12-4 ball game, 14:27 left in this first half. It is still really early. V-Day's first, he will knock down.
Now, if we've seen anything in this tournament so far, it seems like it doesn't matter how you start a game. It's just all about how you finish one. Pepperdine multiple times not having the best of starts, but then coming through with the win. And LMU, a rocky start early, and then they also ended up beating San Diego last night by a pretty solid margin.
V-Day knocks a second as well, and they go into a 1-2-2 press against the Cougs. Garrett's will eventually break it. Guarded heavily by Amy. A quick little bounce pass over to Andy Okafor. He's in the post. Double team. Kick out Carrots. Back over to Watts. Watts to Price now in the post, and he's going to put up an easy little layup. A little pushing match between Porter and Price was kind of clapping. He's ready for the competition. V-Day is going to end up with it for the Lions. 14-6 ball game. Porter back over to Stone Carrawell. He's going to put up a right elbow shot. It's going to rattle up and in. Adds another 2 for the Lions. Garrett's trying to carve into the lane, eventually kicks it back out. Price to Throstison. Throstison looking to make something happen. Cougs are just going to pass it around the arc. 15 on the shot clock. Price has an opening on the 3, and he's going to put that in, and he's fired up. High fives Isaiah Watts, and that's going to add 3 for him. 17-8, Cougs lead.
Heck of a start for Ethan Price. What a good job by him. A really good three-point shooter. Got to get going, though, and continue to play that way.
Amy's going to end up with it on the right wing. Tries to draw into the lane, doesn't do it. Gives it to McBride. Looking for a handoff to Stone Carwell. Gives it to him. Nearly loses Isaiah Watts, but Andy Okafor is on him. Back over to Vide. Now there's 5 on the shot clock, and he's going to get called for a travel. Little too many steps for Vide. Plethora of Cougs are going to check in. Nate Calmes, as well as Eric Tripp's also going to check in. And it looks to be Favors is also going to get a couple minutes, as he had been injured for most of the early part of the season. And Lawan Watts is also going to come in for the Cougs.
Yeah, Isaiah Watts and Favors both did not play in the first meeting against LMU back in December 30th. So good to see Favors out there against the Lions this time.
Calmes with his Kobe Grinch's shoes. He's going to pass it around the arc. And it looks like Lawan Watts is going to end up with it. Back over to Calmes. He's going to cut right to the cup. A beautiful ditch to Lawan Watts for an easy little 2-point floater. And that's going to be a 30-second timeout for LMU and the Lions. And Davis, I mean, I know it's really early, but I like what I'm seeing from WSU and the Cougs right now, leading 19-8. What's the most impressive thing that you've seen so far early in this game?
Yeah, the most impressive thing is that they've got 19 already so far, and they've just only held LMU to 8 points. This team has had a really good offensive year. Their defensive side of things, not exactly the best. They're 94th in offensive efficiency, 196th in defensive efficiency. So their defensive side has definitely been one of the Achilles heels this team, as well as turnovers this year. So the fact that they've held LMU to just 8 points so far, to me, stands out the most. But also the fact that they didn't play until today. They played last Saturday. They have had a lot of time off to rest. And the fact that they've come out and played really well, and that they're fired up for each other. They're getting a lot of energy, a lot of momentum going in their direction. And I think that this will carry a long way into this game if they can keep it up. The problem is, when will they hit their wall? They're probably going to hit it at some point. When will they hit it, and for how long will they hit that wall?
Absolutely. The wall is going to be an issue, and it's been an issue for a lot of these teams that maybe try to come into these games thinking that they're just going to walk over their opponent, and it hasn't worked out. It's happened countless times overall basketball. LMU's going to inbound the basketball. V-Day's going to end up with the rock, crossing over the logo. Quick handoff to Porter. Couple of handoffs, and V-Day's going to end up with it. Gives it to Stone Carroll in the post, guarded by Throstison. He's going to huck up a little fade away. No good. Good rebound off the board from Watts. Calme's going to end up with it and nearly throws the ball away. Throstison saves it nearly. And Watts is going to try to calm down the Cougar offense. 16 on the shot clock. Calmes on the left wing looking at Eric Tripp, doesn't do it. Gives it to Favors. His 3 is going to knock him down. Great 3-ball over by Favors. V-Day on the other side, trying to screen down the court. Quick kick out over to Porter. Thought about a 3, couple spin moves. Doesn't do it. He's going to quick handoff over to Amy. Amy's going to huck up a shot. No good. Rebound over by McBride. His putback's going to get fouled. Missed the putback, but he's going to go to the strike. And we are going to have a media timeout. We're going to take a short little break, but we're going to be back with more Cougar basketball in this exciting first half of this WCC tournament. You are listening to KUGR. We are right back in Las Vegas, Nevada with more Cougar basketball. And right now, the kind of theme of the story is the Cougs are up 22-8, a commanding early lead in this first half. We have 11:42 left in the first. But right now, Aaron McBride, hailing from Corona, California, is at the line going to shoot two. McBride's first is going to be up and in, cutting the Cougar lead back down to 13. His second is also up and in as well. LMU, the Lions, are now at double digits. Cougs leading 22-10. 11:30 left in this game. Calmeese is going to bring up the rock for the Cougs. We're going to get the offense going. Gives it over to Eric Strip. Eric Strip kind of bounces it right back to Calmeese, gives him a screen, and then gets it right back to him. There's going to be a foul, though, on the ground as Eric Strip was ready to maybe make a post move. Foul's going to be on Will Johnston, his first. Calmeese is going to inbound. Got to inbound quick. Gives it over to Lawan Watts. Beats the 5-second count. Screen by Eric Strip. Gives him over to the roll, and Eric Strip's going to lay it up and in. It took him a second to get it there, and the Cougs are going to now go up by 14. Merkvelatze hands it over to Johnston. Johnston back over to Amy. Amy's going to huck up a top of the key three, and that's going to drain. Going to cut that lead down to 11. Calmeese guarded heavily by Johnson. Lawan Watts is going to huck up a three, and that's going to rattle up and through. Johnson now for the Lions in their all red. Drop pass over to Merkvelatze. Gives it over to Lewis, and Lewis is going to go right through the lane, up and finger roll it in. 27-15 now, nearing 10 minutes, the middle point of this first half. Calmeese over to the Throstison. Throstison over to Watts. Looking at Calmeese, top of the key, trying to size up. McBride takes him to town and one, and the basket does count. He's going to go to the strike.
Yeah, good drive from Nate Calmeese, the leading scorer on Washington State's team this season. Very confident player. You're not going to let him, avoid shooting the ball. He's going to shoot it every single time. And LMU, if you're going to try to take him away, he's still going to get to the cup and try to finish at the rim.
Easily, as Favors and Throstison are going to check out for the Cougs. Calmeese's free throw for the and one opportunity. Front iron, no good. But Eric Strip's going to end up with it. He tries to put it back up. It's going to be no good. Rebound, Johnston. Johnston screaming through the hardwood. Gives it over to Merkvelatze. Merkvelatze hands it back over to Amy. Amy to Johnson. Just a lot of Lions action. Nothing really happening, though. Merkvelatze is going to end up with it. Over to Lewis. Johnston, 10 on the shot clock. He's going to pull up for a three. It's going to be no good. Rebound, Isaiah Watts. He'll take the ball. Crosses the logo. Sizes up Johnson. Almost pulls up for a three, but gives a nice dime to Ethan Price, who puts up a little bank shot layup. And that's going to add another two. Now it's a 31-15 ball game. Cougs are up by 16. Lewis hands over to Merkvelatze. Merkvelatze trying to battle with Eric Strip in the post. Throws up an air ball fadeaway. Lawan's going to end up with it. Watts on the end. Gives it over to Calmeese. Looks at Isaiah. Long two. That one's going to be back iron. Fight for Eric Strip. He's not going to end up with the rebound. Johnston is. Johnston over to Amy. His three is good. Cutting that 16-point lead down to 13. 9 minutes in this first. Calmeese throws it back over to Lawan. A couple handoffs. Eric Strip's going to end up with the left wing. Now Watts is in the post. Guarded heavily by Amy. A quick little dump over to Price for an easy lay for himself.
Ethan Price has had a number of great cuts in this game, and they've been finding him while he's open instead of waiting until he's in the spot exactly where he needs to be. He's throwing it to him and passing it to him when he's open.
Merkvelatze pump fakes and sidestep for a three. It's going to be missed, but it's going to be kind of tipped back in by Lewis. And after that made basket by Lewis, cutting the Coug lead down to 13. Kind of just took a second. I think they were kind of maybe waiting for a dead ball, but it wasn't a dead ball. But they blew a whistle.
David Riley was calling out a play, putting his hands like this, but the refs thought he wanted a
timeout, and then he didn't. So they blew their whistle. It didn't really matter.
Yeah.
Gonna be Coug ball.
The age-old 5-out play. Every time they could be a timeout, and they're like, "Oh, that's just like my play call."
Lawan Watts is going to hand it back over to Calmes, who slices through the lane, and he's going to finish for another 2. Sends the lead to 15. Nearing 8 minutes in the first half. Stone Carrawell hands it over to Porter, back to him. Guarded heavily by Lawan Watts. Johnson, who had been an all-star last game, hucks up a 3, no good. Nearly tipped in by Ethan Price, but Okafor's going to have the rebound. Hands it quick over to Calmes. Pulls it back out. Hounded by Johnston. Gives it back to Price, the leading scorer right now with the Cougs. He has 14 for himself. Price looking to get something going. 15 on the shot clock. Isaiah Watts, deep 3. He's going to rattle up and out. Stone Carrawell with the board. Back over to Porter. His 3. That one's going to go in. Cutting the lead back down to 12. And now David Riley and the WSU coaching staff, they're going to take a timeout. Looks to be a full timeout. They're going to bring out the stools. And the Cougs right now with a very commanding lead right now. They are up by 12. There's 7 minutes left in this game. And Davis, we've talked about it before, kind of what are the Cougs' vices? What have they, what has been really controlling them throughout the season to like these losses? But right now, what are they doing so well that has this commanding lead over a good LMU team? They are 16-14 in the A-10 conference. But, we just watched Will Johnston and the rest of the crew last night against San Diego, and they were running through teams. So what do you think they're doing differently to gain this commanding lead in this first half?
We talked about it in the open with the keys to the game, and that was turnovers. They averaged 14.8 turnovers per game. They just have 1 so far in this game. That is a great mark for Washington State. More than halfway through this first half with just 7 minutes and 26 seconds left against an LMU team that does a good job forcing turnovers. They average 5.6 steals per game. Washington State, just 1 turnover at this point in the game. That is the most impressive stat by far of any of them. And they are shooting 50% from 3. That would normally be the highlight, but it's the fact that they only have 1 turnover so far through this game, and they've got 35 points up on the board.
Yeah, you don't want to speak the word turnover too much, and then, we start accumulating them. But, yeah, absolutely, it's been something that we have struggled with the entire season. But right now, I don't know if tournament ball just kind of maybe flipped the switch. But, it still is early in this first half, and there is an entire second half of basketball to be played in 7 minutes in this first half as well. But kind of looking at the offensive side, I really have to reiterate Ethan Price, 14 points already. And, for the season, Ethan Price for the Cougs right now averaging 12. So he's already above that total. And it's kind of been a common theme here in this WCC tournament is that players that maybe commonly or season average, whatever points they do kind of during the season, they've kind of beaten that already in their first half of play. And it looks like Ethan Price has definitely been that guy who has stepped up for Washington State. And every team that has one has had a guy, and Ethan Price right now is that one.
Absolutely. Ethan Price has had a sensational start to this game, 2 for 3 from the 3-point line, and he did miss those first 2 free throws, so he could be at 16 points, but he didn't let that bother him, and then he scored the first bucket of the game and has continued to play a really, really good game for Washington State, and we'll see if he can keep it up. That's been the thing for Washington State is they have these hot streaks, and they also have the cold streaks, so when will that come? We talked about it earlier, how long and when will it come, and right now, they're still kind of letting LMU hang around. So can they extend this lead? It's a 12-point lead right now for Washington State. We'll see how it goes for the Cougars. But so far, it's been a really good start. And I imagine David Riley's got to be pretty pleased with his guys. And I think they're doing a great job so far.
I think pleased indeed is definitely the words. And I think also I wanted to mention just a really good timeout over there by David Riley. Having that commanding lead, you're still up by 12. It was at 15. Porter hit that corner 3. But I think a great timeout just to kind of regroup, say, hey, we're good. We have a commanding lead. There's 7 minutes left. And right now we got the basketball.
Yeah, we saw Oregon State kind of on the other side of that. Wayne Tinkle waited maybe a little bit too long to take a timeout, and that was it for Oregon State.
Watts is going to end up with it. Short corner, tries to rip through V-Day. Gives it over to Price, who's going to cut into the lane, drops it over to Okafor. It's going to be no good. Porter's going to end up with a rebound for the Lions. And V-Day's going to stream up the hardwood. Kicks it way out. That's going to be Stone Carawell. His three, no good. A lot of fight for the rebound. Okafor falls on it. It's going to be a jump ball.
Possession Cougars.
Possession arrow is going to favor the Cougs, and it's going to go in their favor. 35-23 ball game, 6:56 left in this game. And kind of taking a little while to kind of check it in, but Garrett's is going to end up with it. Kind of a light press, 1-2-2 press, but it's been kind of slight. Cougs still kind of taking their time. They finally get across midcourt. Throsteson's going to end up with it. Looking at Watts. Back over to Throsteson. There's going to be a foul on the ground. It looks to be V-Day is going to get called for it, and it is true. Foul on the ground, and that is their 7th team foul. Now Washington State's in bonus. So Throsteson and the rest of the crew, they're going to line up in the markers for a free throw opportunity. It is 1-1 in bonus. The first one's live, but it goes in. Now he will get his second shot. 36-23 ball game, 6:40 left.
Yeah, Tomas Throsteson named to the All-WCC freshman team, so a good season for him in his first year as a Washington State Cougar, and he had a great game against LMU the first time out. He had 17 points.
His second one's going to rattle out. Going to be a rebound by Amy. V-Day's going to bring up the ball for the Lions. Crosses the logo. Couple passes around the arc, but V-Day's going to try to slash into the lane. Porter's going to end up with it. Hands it quick off over to Stone Calloway. Over back to Amy. He's going to finally cut in an amazing block. He's going to, Okafor's going to swat that out of the lane. And then Price on the other side, coast to coast, finger roll, add some jelly to it, and another 2 for the Cougs. V-Day now for the Lions. They have possession again after that great block by ND Okafor. It's going to be Stone Caraway. He's going to be guarded heavily by Parker Carrots. And another block where they're going to call it a foul. A lot of contact by ND Okafor. What a swat over there. And then Price on the other end. I mean, he looked like a point guard the way he kind of put some jelly on that. It looked like toast the way he finger rolled that layup into the hoop.
That was awesome. We just saw a replay on the Jumbotron. It was really smooth. You don't see Ethan Price do that all that often, but if he could keep doing that, Washington State's going to be in a great spot.
Now Stone Carawell, Caleb Stone Carawell, hailing from Charlotte, North Carolina. His first free throw, he'll knock down, cutting that Cougar lead to 14. We are nearing 5 minutes and closer to a media timeout for this first half.
And just looking over at the LMU bench, Will Johnston's still sitting there. He has not really had any sort of impact in this game at all. Kind of interesting for LMU to not even try to get him going. He's just sitting on the bench.
I don't know if he's maybe injured or, something's going on. But, yeah, he was the all-star of last game, but he has definitely been cold tonight.
Yeah, Washington State's must be his kryptonite. He scored 0 points on December 30th, and now he's got nothing today so far.
Yeah, it looks like Porter's kind of in the corner. He's got to check out. I don't know if that's blood or something, but they're taking their time for Stone Carawell's second free throw opportunity. Still on the court. They're just still kind of taking time. He's going to finally check out. Looks like he'll be on the sidelines, but he's going to check back in, presumably after the free throw. So Caraway's second one is also down Main Street. That's going to cut the lead down to 13. Throsteson looking at Garrett, doesn't give it to him, nearly loses the ball, heaves it over to Price at midcourt. Back to him. Some pinball action between the two. Garrett gives it back to Throsteson. Looks at Eric Tripp in the post. 10 on the shot clock. They've got to make something happen and quick. Garrett looking back over to Throsteson. Just a 2. Little quick spin move into a finger roll. No good. Tries to regain his own rebound and is fouled on the putback.
LMU foul 25, Caleb Stone Carawell. That's his second personal.
Good job by Throsteson on that miss to stay right with it and get the offensive rebound. Kind of got clobbered on his way down, but didn't get down about missing the shot and was still right there. And now he's back at the free throw line.
A great opportunity for him. And kind of waiting to see what happens. We're going to have that 2 free throw opportunity for himself. Lined up around the key, and I don't know if there's maybe more blood or more sweat, but one of the officials is asking for a towel to maybe clean up of something of some sort, but kind of taking their time similar to the last free throw opportunity. And the official maybe looking for like another towel. He threw the towel back over to the LMU crew.
Yeah, there might be
really don't know what's
blood
going
on the floor. They
Could
need
be
to get the blood kit out because he clearly didn't like that towel. The manager for LMU threw him the ball or threw him the towel, and he just threw it right back to him. So the trainer for LMU is going to put on some gloves and go out and get rid of the blood that might have come onto the floor. When Porter has some tape on his left shin by his knee area, he might have dripped that on the ground in the middle of the key. So got to get the biohazard off the floor.
Yeah, taking their time. Calmes is going to check in as well as Porter once the blood situation kind of gets figured out. We're going to take maybe a quick little break to kind of see if they're going to clean that up. You're listening to more Cougar basketball here on KUGR. Oh.
That's quick.
Yeah, that was super quick. We thought it would maybe take a little longer.
The magic of that, whatever potion they got over there, it makes it into a kind of a dust, and then you just wipe it right up. It's a really, really good technology in the 2025 year, and you can just kind of get blood off the floor, no problem.
It's like a dry erase marker in an expo or something. You just kind of clean it up real quick. And yeah, that was a real quick break from us. That first free throw, though, by Thrasicene is no good. The second one was also no good. Kind of the freshman, really young, had a talented year for sure, but missing both of those free throws. And, free throws are kind of gimmies. They're free for a reason. LMU now on the other side, still down by 13, nearing 5 minutes left. Going to be Amy's going to give it over back to Merck Velatze. Merck Velatze hands it over to Asanza, who checked back into the game. Couple batted around, but they're going to lose the basketball, and it's going to be Cougar ball. Johnson's finally going to check back into the game. He's going to check in, and Vide's going to take a breather, as well as Lawan Watts is going to check back in as well.
Yeah, both the star watches of this game coming back into the game. We'll see how they can impact it from this point forward.
Lawan Watts to inbound over to Nate Calmes. Calmes guarded by Johnston, kind of that guard matchup, mono-e-mono. Eric Schripp, couple swings around Calmes, thought about a three, gives it to Lawan Watts. He's at the high corner, gives it to Vavers. His three's no good. Great rebound by Thrasicene. A good offensive rebound. Resets the shot clock. Calmes gives it over to Eric Schripp, and it's batted and intercepted by Amy. Amy, a quick little pinball action from Merck Velatze over to Porter, and he's going to put up the layup. Cuts the lead down to 11. Watts looking for Eric Schripp. He wanted to carve into the lane, doesn't do it. And it's going to be an offensive foul maybe it's going to be on Dane Eric Schripp. Maybe kind of a moving screen as he kind of pulled out the basketball, thought about handing it back off to Calmes. Didn't do it. Gets called for that moving screen.
Yeah, he put his hip out kind of in backed up into the defender and kind of not allowed to do that. It was really close, but definitely an illegal play from Eric Schripp.
Amy's going to try to slash through the lane. Doesn't do it. Kicks that back out to Porter. Porter's screen for Johnston. Thought about a three, and a couple games ago, he'd been doing it. The Lions are going to pass the ball around the arc. Porter's going to throw up a corner three, and that's not a great shot. It's no good. Calmes on the other end, wide open lane, and goes to the cup, but it's going to be swatted away by the very tall Asanza. Porter now on the other end. Tries to draw it to the cup. There's going to be a blocking foul on the ground. Thought he maybe got a shot up, and now we're going to have another media timeout. The Cougs right now still with this commanding lead, 38-27. We're actually going to take a little bit of a break right now for the rest of this media timeout, but we're going to be back with you for the final duration of this first half. You're listening to KUGR, the student voice of the Palouse. Right back with Washington State and the Cougar basketball team. I'm Josiah Frank back with Davis Hagen. We're just getting out of the media timeout, and you're just joining with us. Right now, the Cougars have got a pretty nice lead, 38-27, with 3:54 left in this first half. Before the media timeout, Porter had a put back off of a miss, and he's now at the free throw line with a one-on-one opportunity. Excuse me, not with the put back. There was a blocking foul from his drive. The 1-and-1. The first one's nothing but net. He'll have an opportunity for a next one. It's now a 10-point game, 38-28. Still 3:54 left in the game. His second is no good. Rebound by Price. Calmes looking at Watts. A great little dump off to Ethan Price and a missed dunk. They thought it was maybe a goaltend, but there's going to be a push, and he's going to go to the line instead.
Yeah, a couple missed dunks in this game by Washington State. They're right there at the rim. Great looks. Got to keep having to try to slam that through. But easiest look in basketball with the slam dunk. It's kind of surprising that they've missed a couple.
Yeah, Lawan had that one-handed jam, missed it completely, and then Price, that first free throw is going to be good. Yeah, Price, with the two-handed jam, maybe a hand got in there, and he did get pushed, so, he's on the line. But, got to get it up and in through the red circle. Excuse me, the orange circle. His second. Rattles over and in. And Weber's going to check in. He's seen a lot of minutes tonight. Eric Strip's going to take a little bit of a breather on the bench. See if he maybe checks in before halftime. Now the Cougs kind of in this press. Lawan Watts, guarding Porter, who inbounds it over to Johnston. Johnston dribbles it over to the left side. Quick handoff to Porter. Porter, he's drawing over into the lane. It's going to be no good. Rebound by Watts. Maybe wanted a foul there, didn't get it. Watts back to Calmes. His three-pointer, no good. Gets his own rebound. Back over to Isaiah Watts. Three ball for him. Also no good. Another offensive rebound by Lawan Watts. And there's going to be a foul. It looks to be on Johnson, and it is. And that's going to be Lawan Watts going to the free throw line because the Cougar offense is in bonus. It's actually going to be two shots. It's double bonus now. His first front iron, no good. 3:18 left. Cougs are still leading by 12. McBride checking back in for the Lions. The 7'1" center, Sansa, he's going to sit down for a little bit. His second is also no good. Two missed big free throws in this big WCC game. Johnston grabbing the miss. Kicks it over to Merck Velatze, who drives baseline. He's going to get fouled and go to the line.
Washington State foul number 3, Ethan Price.
Ethan Price is going to get called for the foul. That's his first. LMU also in bonus as well. But Merck Velatze is going to get two shots after driving baseline and trying to go strong to the hole. His first. Over and out.
Washington State is fortunate that LMU hasn't been able to score in the last few possessions and not really been able to advance this run that they might have been able to get on because Washington State hasn't scored a field goal in over 3 minutes. They've gone a little quiet, and LMU is also kind of just hanging around 12 to 13 points in the last couple of minutes in this half. Still about 3 minutes to go. 12-point game. If LMU can kind of cut this in, that might not be good for Washington State, but if they can extend this lead, maybe over 12 points by the time they get to halftime, have a comfortable lead going into the locker room.
Merck Velatze misses his second free throw as well. Price is going to board it off the rack. Calmes, quick handoff to Lawan Watts. And it's going to be a great dump over to Ethan Price. And that two-handed jam is going to be easy and good. Johnson now on the other end for LMU and the Lions. They want to get something going. 2:45 left in this first half, and the Cougs are leading by 14. Couple handoffs. Porter's going to huck up a three for them. It's going to be high off the iron, but it's going to be an offensive rebound opportunity. Kick back out over to Johnston, and his three is going to fall.
Yeah, first points of the game for Will Johnston coming off a 27-point performance, and About 2.5 minutes left in the first half, and he finally got his first one.
Price, little bounce pass over to Favors. Isaiah's going to end up with it. Isaiah Watts, bounce pass over to Favors, right back to him. 10 on the shot clock. Isaiah slashing through the lane, try to finish, look for a foul, missed it. He didn't get it. Johnson on the other end, screaming up the court. Slowing down the offense now. Gives it over to Merck Velatze. Dishes it off to the Cub, and he's going to give it over to McBride for an easy 2. And now what just was a 14-point lead, the Cougs are now up by 9. 1:50 left. We are within 2 before halftime. Lawan Watts going straight to the Cub, up and in, and one opportunity. He'll go back to the strike.
Washington State not shooting a great clip from the free throw line. They've already got 16 attempts, but the problem is they've only made 7 of those. They're shooting 43% from the free throw line, almost shooting a better three-point percentage at 38% than they are at the free throw line.
Yikes. that sadly, unfortunately, kind of sums up commonalities of the season, as Watts' one free throw is good, kind of maybe helping out that free throw percentage. 1:45 left in this game. The Cougs are now up by 12 with that and one off of Lawan Watts. Johnston, right wing, hands it off back over to Amy. Looking for Amy. He's trying to make something happen. Works his way into the key, and right elbow shot is good for him, a little midi. Calmise is going to end up with the ball after that make. Calmise back to Price. Quick kickouts, a couple kickouts. Lawan Watts thought about a corner three, should have done it. Gives it to Isaiah Watts. His 3 is no good. Going to be a foul call, though, off the rebound, and it looks to be, it's going to go on the other side.
Washington State foul number 15, Rahards Favors.
Yeah, it's going to be Favors is going to call that, be called on the foul, maybe a little bit over and back. And Merck Velatze is going to go to the line for the Lions. 1:12 left. It is a 10-point ball game. The Cougs are leading 45-35. Merck Velatze, his free throw up and in.
Yeah, relatively low scoring half for LMU. Merck Velatze just up to 3 points in this game so far. He's been relatively quiet as well.
Lewis trying to check back in for the Lions. Merck Velatze's second free throw also is as no good. Watts is going to end up with the rebound. A great little pass over to Favors, but Calmise is going to end up with it. Go straight to the cup. It's a high off the glass, and it's going to be up and in. Adds to that Cougar lead. Cougs are up by 11. We are within the final minute of the first half. Porter trying to screen for Johnston. Gives it to Porter. He is tall. Brother of Michael Porter Jr. plays for the Denver Nuggets. A quick kick out over to Amy, and he's going to knock down a huge corner 3. And he's a little bit fired up, as well as head coach Stan Johnson. Calmise on the other side, try to repeat with Lays, and it's no good. Quick rebound by Amy. We are within 30 seconds, almost halftime. Johnston. Mano y mano with Lawan Watts. Now with Calmise. They're going to hold it out for the last shot. There's a 2-second differential between game clock and shot clock. 10 seconds on the game clock, 5 on the shot. Johnston, 6, 5. Johnson hucks up a shot. It's going to be no good. Shot clock violation. And that's going to be a big air ball from Johnston. And now the Cougs are going to have about 2.3 seconds. They might add maybe a second or two to that. They might not. But they'll have 2.3 seconds to try to huck up something. They have about enough to maybe take a dribble or two and huck up a half-court shot. But 2.3 seconds, not a ton of time. I don't know if they're maybe thinking about maybe trying to review it, but they're not going to do it. Price is going to inbound 2.3 seconds before halftime. Price, bad pass. He's going to give it over to Vide, who stole it. Hucked up kind of a runner 3, airballed it, thankfully, but a bad pass from Price. But the Cougs now still leading. That lead that was once 14 points is now at 8. The Cougs leading 47-39 as both teams are going back into their respective locker rooms. In Davis, first half impressions And for the majority of the first half, I mean, it looked like the Cougs were kind of a little bit unstoppable, scoring at will, kind of doing what they wanted and playing really well on the defensive side, and turnovers were not an issue. And then kind of in the later part of that second half, starting to let up just a little bit, but still scoring on the offensive side to continue that lead. But, yeah, what did you notice really in this first half?
Yeah, I thought it was a good first half for Washington State. They up by 8 points. It should probably be a little bit more for the Cougars, but not an entirely bad first half, but it kind of slipped away in the later stages of that. The second half of the first half really was not perfect for Washington State. Well, let's just say that, because LMU should not be hanging around at this point in the game. It should be much higher than it is. And so if Washington State doesn't come out firing in the second half, it could be a tight game and a long game for Washington State and a tense game for the Washington State faithful that have made the trip down from Pullman to Vegas. But it should be a great second half. LMU hanging around down just by 8, trying to maybe pull the second upset of the night.
Absolutely. We are going to take a break for halftime, but we will be back with Davis Hagen calling some amazing play-by-play for the second half of this WCC matchup between the Washington State Cougars, right now leading the LMU Lions 47-39. And we'll be back with more basketball for the Cougs here on KUGR.
One half down, one half to go for Washington State and LMU. It's 47-39 in the third round of the WCC Tournament from Orleans Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. Davis Hagen alongside Josiah Frank. Good first half from Washington State. They're up by 8. Ethan Price put in 20 points for Washington State, and Lawan Watts had 9 points as well. And on the star watch for the other side, LMU's star Will Johnston only had 3 points, and he was just 1 of 5 from the three-point line. Every single one of his shots came from the three-point line, and he only made one of them. So he had 27 points yesterday, just 3 in the first half, and a good first half from Washington State, but they let LMU hang around later in that first half, and it's only an 8-point advantage. What does Washington State have to do to extend this lead and hold on to get to play San Francisco tomorrow night in the quarterfinals of the WCC Tournament?
Yeah, Davis, I think the really big thing is kind of continue what they've been doing, especially for the majority of the game, is not to turn over the basketball even more. WSU right now with just a few turnovers right now, I believe around, 4 or 5 turnovers.
Yeah, about 4 turnovers.
Yeah, 4 turnovers right now. And for us being one of the most one of the worst teams in turnovers in the country. If we can continue to kind of keep that number down from our season average, I really think that could be the deciding factor right there. I mean, and really, this sounds really simple, but kind of continue the offensive push outside of the basketball. Continue kind of putting the ball in the hoop. It really is that simple. Continue to score, continue to get guys shots. Price right now already having 20. You know, he's actually averaging only 13 points a game right now. Yeah, Ethan Price averaging 12.4 points a game, and he already has 20 in the first half. So if he can continue to heat up, and then a couple other guys, Isaiah Watts, Lawan Watts, Cal Meese, you know, whoever can also maybe step up a little bit more, continue this lead and stretch it out and do not let up. If you let up on teams like LMU, like Pepperdine, you could get burnt really easily, and we don't want that to happen.
Washington State is the 13th best shooting team in the country, averaging 49% shooting on the season. They're over their average in that first half, 51.5%. That is a really high clip. Over half their shots have gone down, and they need to continue to do that if they want to get a win and play San Francisco tomorrow night. Washington State is the 6th seed in this tournament. San Francisco's the 3 seed. One quarterfinal matchup has already been set. Pepperdine upset Oregon State earlier tonight in dramatic fashion. They're going to play Santa Clara tomorrow evening, and this game still in the balance for both sides trying to continue their season. LMU and Washington State were tied at number 6 in the WCC standings. LMU ends up getting the 7th seed after the tiebreaker went in the favor of Washington State because they beat them on December 30th back in Spokane. So a really interesting matchup in that respect, but both teams basically tied coming into this game, and it should be an even matchup between these two. Washington State definitely feels like they have the more talented roster, and they should be up by more, but even an 8-point lead is probably better than not having a lead at all going into the second half, and David Riley's got to be happy with the performance from the first half. The last couple minutes weren't necessarily great, but ultimately being up 8 points, trying to add on to it as we just about to get ready to go in the second half of play from Orleans Arena. It's a great environment. It seems like every game there's more people coming in to watch these games. Even though more teams are getting eliminated each day, the games keep getting better and the pressure keeps getting higher. And here we go, ready to roll. 47-39, Washington State has a lead, and we're underway in Orleans Arena for the second half of LMU and Washington State. And it's Merkeladze on the perimeter with the ball for the Lions. Inside the Porter, kick it out to Merkeladze on the wing. And they're continuing to try to find somebody open on the outside. Johnson's got it against Lawan Watts. The two stars to watch in this game, both not necessarily their best first half performances. Merkeladze, pump fake on Isaiah Watts. Kick it to Stone Carrawell. Top of the key, three-pointer straight away, no good. Rattles out, and a tap for the rebound. Erickstrup has it for Washington State. Just 2 points for Dane Erickstrup in that first half. Pretty quiet first half for him. Lawan Watts backs it down against Stone Carrawell on the left block. Good cut from Isaiah Watts, and a bounce pass gets deflected out of bounds, and it'll stay with Washington State down on the baseline. But a lot of good cuts so far in this game for Washington State, and a lot of good passes as well, getting them the ball once they're making that cut towards the basket.
Yeah, a little watt-to-watt connection, or wanted to be a little bit of watt-to-watt connection. But yeah, being very unselfish and kind of looking for that extra pass is going to be crucial if they want to extend this lead.
Inbound to Ethan Price, who put up 20 points in that first half. Leading scorer of everybody on the floor in this game. Cal Meese against Isanza. 7'1" big man guarding Cal Meese on the perimeter. And Cal Meese will get fouled on the drive to the cup. And the 7'1" Isanza, just hard to stay with the smaller Nate Cal Meese, much faster than the 7'1" Isanza. It'll be a baseline inbound for Nate Cal Meese. Washington State still up by 8. 47-39. 19:06 to play. Inbound to Watts, back to Cal Meese, the inbounder. His three-pointer is pure, and Washington State up by 11 after that shot from Nate Cal Meese.
Yeah, Cal Meese, one of those guys that you would love to see if he can heat up.
Merkeladze will drive towards the basket, and a foul called on Lawan Watts on the drive. It'll be on the floor, and LMU will have it on the baseline to inbound.
Yeah, head coach Stan Johnson for the Lions. I just love how fiery and passionate he was. We watched him yesterday, and just the same today. Very passionate for his team. Definitely loves the game.
He definitely implores a lot out of his guys. He gets a lot back from them. Mark Valance, top of the key, drive it against Price, stonewalled by Price, but still somehow gets into the key, fighting for the ball, and he's going to put up a floater with the right hand, and that's no good, and Lawan Watts will clear it. Good defense from Washington State. Here comes Lawan Watts racing towards the cup, high off the glass. That's no good. Rebound, Javon Porter, and he'll go the other way. One-on-one against Price. Cross-court pass into the corner. Stone Carawell, three-pointer off the rim. Offensive rebound, Porter going against Price, and not a great block out from Ethan Price. Allows the offensive rebound, and the possession will continue for the Lions. 50-39. Stone Carawell underneath. It goes off his foot and out of bounds. And it's a turnover by the Lions, and it'll go back to Washington State.
Yeah, Price has got to do a better job about blocking out. If it's Porter, if it's, Asanza, whoever it is, they have to block out. And they have to continue to rebound the basketball.
And an illegal screen is going to be called on Dane Erikstrup. Lawan Watts had it at the top of the key, and Erikstrup was trying to get free, but illegally maneuvering. And that's the second time Erikstrup has been called for an illegal offensive play. His second foul of the game for Washington State, asking the referee what he was doing. He said you put his arm into the back of the defender. 50-39, Washington State in front. Mark Valance on the outside for LMU. Just under 18 minutes to play in this game. Johnston's got the ball, top of the key, driving against Cal Meese. Dangerous pass back to MJ Amy's checked in to this game in the second half as Zanza gets the ball down low, turn and fire, missed it, but a foul is going to be called. That's on Erikstrup again, so that's his third foul, and Andy Okafor is going to come to the scores table to check in after the first free throw from LMU.
Fouls, especially for Dane Erikstrup, have been a very common theme, and, it can't let him kind of rattle him because we definitely will need him for the rest of the second half. It's really early. There's 17 minutes left, so Erikstrup will be coming in, so he's got to level his head and try to fight to win this game, and that first one's no good, so that definitely helps as well.
Yeah, Sansa misses the first free throw. Okafor into the game. Erikstrup will hit the bench. Ricky Sansa, 7'1", 245 pounds from the Congo. It's his third season with LMU. He spent his first season of college at Oklahoma and then transferred to the Lions. He makes the second free throw, and the lead is down to 10 points for Washington State. Price will bring it over half court. The big man working out in the perimeter for Washington State. Top of the key against Johnson. That's a height mismatch if he wanted it, but he gets it over to Isaiah Watts on the right side. Bounce pass down low to Price, who made a baseline cut to get free. Jabbing, working inside, going against Porter. Ends up having to get the ball out to Lawan Watts against Porter still. It was a good switch from LMU. 3 seconds to shoot. Cal Meese, left wing, three-pointer on the way. That's no good, and a rebound for MJ Amy, and LMU clears. 10-point advantage for Washington State. Amy's going to drive hard on the left side. Stops in the middle of the lane. Kick it out to Johnston. Pump fake drive down the hard side, the right side, and a misser shot on the short corner jumper. Cross-court pass to Isaiah Watts. Leaves it for Lawan. Top of the key, Cal Meese. Hard drive, kick out. Lawan Watts, three-pointer on the way. That's good for Lawan Watts. And a 13-point advantage for Washington State.
Yeah, it's all been all Ethan Price, but Lawan Watts, adding a three to his repertoire. Love to see him heat up even more.
Mark Valance almost had it stolen, and he throws it, intercepted by Cal Meese. Racing the other way, one-on-one, leaves it for Okafor, hangs in the air, misses a left-hand layup. Ball pops way up into the air, and Cal Meese saved it into the arms of an LMU offensive player, and it's Johnston the other way with a three-pointer in transition. Missed it, and the ball comes to Isaiah Watts. No-look cross-court pass to Cal Meese, racing up the floor, high off the glass and in for Washington State, and a 15-point advantage.
That was a pretty no-look pass from Isaiah Watts, a very underrated part of his game. He can definitely find people.
Very good at the finesse aspect of the game. Isaiah Watts did not play in the first meeting between LMU and Washington State, and the Cougars are grateful to have him back in the lineup. Three-pointer from Amy, straight away, no good, and a foul is going to be called on a rebound. And we've reached the under 16 media timeout. That's going to be the foul on Lawan Watts. His third foul on Lawan Watts, so 3 fouls on Lawan and 3 fouls on Dane Erikstrup. Washington State trying to avoid getting into some serious foul trouble as they go on through this game. Josiah, this team has done a good job staying out of foul trouble for the most part. Other than Erikstrup really this season, he's had a multiple games fouling out, but the rest of the team hangs around 3 to 4 fouls by the end of the game, but already 3 on Watts and Erikstrup with still just about 16 minutes left in this game. How do they kind of avoid getting these players put on the bench with the reaching the limit of fouls.
Yikes, that's kind of the scariest thing. That's the only thing that's really making me extremely nervous, as there's still nearly 16 minutes left in this game. There's so much time. And I'd say the only maybe solution to that problem is you got to score more. Right now, the Cougs have a 15-point lead, which is nice, which is a little comfortable, but it's definitely not comfortable enough. And you want to extend that even more and more. If you can maybe get 20+ and kind of maybe take a little bit of hope out of LMU, that would help a ton. And give these guys maybe 3-4 minutes of a break. And then you got to put them in and just hope that they don't foul out super quickly, or when they do, there's only a couple minutes left. And then you got to put hope in your guys like Favors or Throsson and, hope to kind of sneak out a win here and just kind of push LMU out and kind of move on to the next round. It's really about surviving and advancing, and the Cougs are going to have to do that.
Yeah, they're going to have to survive this game from LMU. A 15-point advantage for Washington State. It was just 8 at halftime, so they've done a good job to extend it in this second half so far. Just these first 4 minutes of the second half, it's very important for teams to come out and play well. In the first 4 minutes, you can kind of divide the game into 4-minute sections by the media timeouts. You get one at 16, 12, 8, and 4. So you go out, play hard in the first 4 minutes, you get a breather, and then you go right back at it again until the under 12. And Washington State has had a +7 so far in these first 4 minutes. We'll see what they can do in the next frame of the 4 minutes. But LMU on the other side, they're probably realizing that they've got to start making something happen. They're down 15, and they've only scored 40 points. So they need to get their offense going, and it's probably going to have to start with Will Johnston, who's really been nowhere so far. He's missed 6 threes so far today. So what does he have to do for LMU to get going? He was the guy we highlighted in the open, and he really hasn't appeared anywhere.
Yeah, especially for him. I mean, right now he only has 3 points right now. We were talking about that stellar performance yesterday that he had. He dropped 28 on San Diego's head. And so right now he's got to heat up. He's, taken a few shots recently right before this media timeout, but nothing's fallen. So he's really got to stay level-headed, and they want a shot just to even kind of get back to make this kind of more of a game with the Cougs. He's going to have to score, and he's going to have to score quick. There is 16 minutes left, but, right now we only have 3 points. It's almost like looking at the Oregon State side of things with
Ratah.
That's it. I was trying to remember his last name. Ratah. We had kind of trouble. Ratah had a single point the entire Oregon State game, and really that was kind of their Achilles heel, and that's why they lost. So
exactly, yeah, they got upset by Pepperdine earlier tonight. 9-seed Pepperdine advanced to take on Santa Clara tomorrow night. And the inbounds pass to Johnson, and a double team by Watts and Thrasserson, and a turnover from Will Johnson. We're just talking about him, and he doesn't make a great play. He turns it over, and it's going back to the Cougars.
Yeah, the freshman Thrasserson and Isaiah Watts definitely fired up. Love to see him, double teaming and helping on a defensive play.
15-point advantage for Washington State, trying to move on to take on San Francisco tomorrow night. Thrasserson's got it at the elbow. Good pass to Ethan Price, rounding around the horn. Watts going to take a three-pointer, and Isaiah Watts drills it. 18-point lead for Washington State. This is the exact kind of start to the second half that David Riley, head coach for Washington State, wanted. Tipped back into the backcourt on a potential pass to the top of the key, and Washington State's defense has really ratcheted up in this second half. Top of the key, MJ Amy going to drive inside, snakes his way to the free throw line. Pull-up jumper is good. And it's 58-42 with that make for the Lions. Isaiah Watts will bring it up the right side of the floor, crosses half court, ducks down into the lane, step back, short jumper on the way is good. Isaiah Watts with a rhythm jumper. Excellent shot from him. He's a very smooth player.
He's like a microwave. You let him heat up, he'll burn up your food.
Yes, he will. Corner, Porter, pump fake on Price, drives to the lane, and a foul is going to be called on the drive. It'll be a baseline inbounds for LMU. Foul on Ethan Price.
Porter at 6'11", 235. He's lanky, but he's not lanky and extremely thin. He can battle on the post. He can kind of finish, and definitely one of those guys where he can kind of finish about everywhere and don't want to just let him kind of cause havoc on the court.
Amy gets the catch and shoot inbound three, and Okafor skies for the rebound, rips it down with one hand, and Washington State will advance the ball up the floor with Cal Meese. Good pass to Okafor, down low, left block, gets to the right hand in the lane, and it's a little floater over the top, and it's in for Washington State. 62-42. They've pushed the lead out to 20 points. Vide in transition stops on a dime and kicks it out to Amy. Cross court to Porter. Drives against Calmese inside. Pump fake. Okafor in the air and fouls him, and they both hit the deck like bowling pins.
Yeah, Andy Okafor
Washington State foul number 22.
doing a decent job of, trying to stay down a little bit, but he kind of got up a little bit. He's got to, use that big 6'9" frame of his. He's going to try to stay on the ground. 6'9", 235. He can definitely just stay on the ground and guard a guy like Javon Porter.
Porter's first free throw is good. A couple substitutions coming in. Lawan Watts and Parker Garrett's coming in for Washington State. Stone Carawell and Asansa checking in for Loyola Marymount. Porter will go back to the free throw line for one more shot. Pepperdine transfer to LMU. A lot of Pepperdine this weekend. More so than most people thought they would be. 62-44 after the make from Porter. Garrett's gets the press break to Isaiah Watts, and they clear the pressure. Backdoor cut to Okafor. Scramble for the ball. Garrett's ends up with it, and he gets fouled. This one is on for LMU. That's going to be on Porter for a hit in the head on Parker Garrett's, and he's going to go to the free throw line for two shots. Parker Garrett's the only other player that was on that NCAA tournament team for Washington State, where they beat Drake and then ultimately lost to Iowa State down in Omaha, Nebraska. It was a great season for Washington State, but Garrett's and Isaiah Watts, the only two players that held over from that team, but Garrett's didn't even play as he misses the first free throw off the back of the rim.
Yeah, both of them also the sole Washingtonian players. Garrett's from Olympia, Washington, the state's capital, and then Isaiah Watts from West Seattle. So, yeah, most of our team kind of being from kind of around either the world or kind of country. But, yeah, they're the few Washingtonian athletes.
Sticking around, and another good season for Washington State. It wasn't a great season as much as people had hoped for, but still with a good chance to continue on as Garrett's misses the second free throw. He goes 0 for 2 on the trip. 62-44 still the score. Washington State leads. Vide will spin into the lane. Going against Isaiah Watts. Kick it to the corner with Porter. Going against Garrett's. Height mismatch. Cross-court pass to Stone Carawell. His three-pointer on the way. That's good for LMU. Stone Carawell had 20 points in the first meeting between these two teams. He's had a good night so far, trying to pick up the slack from Will Johnston, not having a good night. Okafor in the short corner, spinning against Asansa. Kick it out to Isaiah Watts. Lawan Watts comes free on a pick and fade. Three-pointer, that's no good, and MJ Amy gets the rebound for LMU. Pushing the pace to Stone Carawell. Going in one-on-one against Isaiah Watts. Blocked by Tomas Thrasserson, coming from behind. And it's going to go to Washington State as Thrasserson blocked it off, and it hit the leg of Stone Carawell. Great play from Tomas.
Yeah, and that's why, he was on that WCC all-freshman team. I mean, he's definitely been making plays, and I think he's been doing nothing but getting better and better throughout the season. And now, you're in conference tournament play. You got to turn it up all the way, and he's definitely done that to try to extend and keep this big Cougar lead, keep on going.
Full court pressure from LMU trying to disrupt the Washington State offense. Garrett's breaks it over half court. We'll size it up on the right wing and kick it back out to Calmese, way out by the WCC logo. Tomas Thrasserson, left wing, thought about driving in, picks up his dribble, kicks it out to Calmese, top of the key. Guarded by Stone Carawell. Leaves it for Lawan Watts, who almost stumbled into the corner for Parker Garrett's. His three-pointer off the rim, and a rebound for LMU, and Porter bringing it the other way. Going against Lawan Watts. Kicks it to Stone Carawell. Outside, looking for a pass. Finds Amy. Dribble handoff to Vide in the corner. Driving against Tomas Thrasserson. Stops at the free throw line. Wards him off with the right hand and puts it up, and a rebound dunk for Asansa. Excellent play by the 7'1" big man who just rocks rim. It's still shaking.
It was almost on, it was kind of on, it was on Okafor's head. Yeah.
It showed the replay, and that's an unfortunate placement for Andy Okafor. Lawan Watts tried to throw it inside to Okafor, knocked away by Asansa, and LMU off and running 62-49, a little 7-0 run for the Lions. Stone Carawell lost the ball, diving on the floor. Garrett's has it. Calmese is wide open. They find him. Left-hand layup inside and an and one for Nate Calmese. Excellent play. He was open, and they finally found him. It took him a little bit to get him there. He was calling for the ball, racing down the floor, and Washington State up by 15, 64-49 with the under 12 media timeout.
Yeah, Nate Calmese, almost Andy Okafor kind of getting that ball from Parker Garrett, who's on the deck, and kind of swings it over to him. But just a great job of just kind of looking for the extra pass and, going pass to pass. And, a great easy finish for Calmese, and also being very patient and poised and waiting for the defender to come to also draw that contact, and not it just being an easy, open opportunity for a layup, but an and one opportunity. And hopefully after the media timeout, a 3-point play.
Isaiah Watts will be at the free throw line for one shot. It's 64-49. Washington State has a 15-point lead on LMU. We'll be back after the break. You're listening to KUGR, the student voice of the Police. .5 lead for Washington State with a t-shirt toss coming to the loudest and craziest fans, as they say, and they're chucking them all over the arena. It's a great atmosphere at Orleans Arena here in beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada, and it's a good lead for Washington State, but LMU on a little push so far, trying to come back in his game with 11:54 left in the second half.
Yeah, and right now the Cougs right now in a position if they really want to extend this lead right now. Leading 15, 11:54 left. We're nearing kind of the middle point of the second half. And what would be great, what would help is Calmese making this free throw, but would be really good if they can continue this offensive kind of threat that's been going on throughout the entire game as Calmese knocks that one down. They can kind of continue that and extend this lead maybe back up to maybe 20 or something close around those lines. It was at 18 at one point. It would be really great and try to close out this game.
Calmese knocks down the free throw. Score goes to 65-49. LMU back to work on offense. Under 12 minutes to play. Vide in the lane. Right-hand floater goes over the top of Reeve Avers. And the score goes to 65-51 as Calmese will bring it up the right side of the floor for Washington State. Top of the key, Calmese surveying, trying to find somewhere to go with the ball. Bounce pass to the free throw line to Lawan Watts. Kick to the corner with Vavers, and he's out of bounds when he caught the ball. And time again, we have seen that so many times in this tournament. Some players stepping on the sideline in the corners. They've got to get that figured out, these teams, and it's happening to every single team. Somebody's got to tell the guys that you got to stay in the floor.
Yeah, I don't know why it's happening. Literally every game, they're stepping on the corners, especially the corner threes. They just have to know where they are.
Amy will get a turnaround jumper on the short corner. Offensive rebound, Asanza, and he puts it in for LMU. Lead cut to 12 for Washington State. Calmeese will bring it over the half-court line. Tomas Thrasserson ducks into the lane, split a double team, and he gets fouled. That was an aggressive, fast-paced move from Tomas Thrasserson, who typically feels like he's a little more timid on the perimeter for Washington State, but that was a very confident offensive attack.
Yeah, I would love to see that, maybe even a little bit more. I mean, I don't know who kind of has the green light to drive and who doesn't, but I mean, I'm assuming if you see an open lane, go score the basketball.
Absolutely. You got to take all the shots that are open. Calmeese right wing bounce pass inside to Lawan Watts. Going against the 7-1 Asanza. Cross-court pass to Tomas Thrasserson. His three-pointer off the back of the rim. And Asanza gets the rebound easily over the top of Watts. And a bump foul is going to be called as Vide went to drive the ball up. And a blocking foul is going to be called on Nate Calmeese. Second personal foul on Nate Calmeese, with Isaiah Watts coming to the scores table to check in for Washington State. And he's going to come in for Tomas Thrasserson. The Icelandic native will head out. And Vide will go to the free throw line as the LMU is in the bonus. Washington State 17 fouls with still 10.5 minutes to play in this half. Vide's first free throw is right down the middle. Vide up to 4 points in this game. 2 of 2 from the free throw line. And he'll have another opportunity. 65-54 the score. Vide's second free throw is good as well, so he hasn't yet to miss from the free throw line. Price gets the ball off the inbound, looking to go somewhere. Full court pass up ahead to Isaiah Watts. Step into a three-pointer, left it way short, and a rebound for Stone Carawell. Watts hit the deck, no foul was called, and it's a 10-point game. Vide driving in against Calmeese. LMU trying to get back into this game. Mid-range jumper, and that's good for LMU, and the lead's down to 8 for Washington State. And David Riley will call a timeout, and this is what we talked about in the first half. LMU on this tear, and now Washington State calls a timeout with the lead down to 8, and they had the advantage way up there, and then LMU goes on this run. They're on an 8-0 run over the last minute and a half. And Josiah, what can Washington State do to kind of weather this storm from the LMU Lions?
Hopefully, I think what the Cougs right now need to do is just kind of calm and compose themselves. Definitely it is maybe a little bit concerning that, the Cougs had an 18-point, lead, and now that 18 is dwindled down to 8. But at the end of the day, the Cougs are still leading. So I think if I'm David Riley right now, if I'm in that circle, I think we really need to talk about that, hey, we still have the lead, everything's okay, and we got to figure out kind of what we're doing wrong. And right now, it's been kind of a mixture of both things. Shots aren't falling. That's okay. But we really got to take time. And I feel like time and clock situation is extremely valuable. Right now, that 8-point lead, yes, maybe LMU does have a little bit of momentum. But on the Cougs side, if they can kind of take their time, really relax when it comes to offensive opportunities, try to draw that clock little by little. And then on the defensive side, they really need to keep on face guarding and just not allow these kind of open shots. And concession shots are going to fall. That's just the game of basketball. But not to get flustered, not to get kind of rattled when these shots kind of go in. WSU still has a lead right now, and that's what's really important.
We talked about Ethan Price at the start of the second half. He had 20 points in the first half. He's still at 20 points. Has yet to score in the second half. So Washington State relied on him a lot in the first half. They got to be able to get it back going into this game. What does he have to do for Washington State? He's a great three-point shooter. He's already made 2 so far today, but does it have to be a very, they have to make it known they're going to go to him, or is he a player that can kind of just get going in the rhythm of the offense?
Gosh, call me old school, but I feel like because he's 6'10", maybe throw him in the post a little bit. He has some really good post moves. I know he does extremely love to shoot, and he's a very good shooter from behind the arc or even kind of in that mid-range area. But I think something to get him going, get him maybe a little bit of a mix match, a little pick and roll, or get him within the post, let the two bigs kind of bang a little bit, especially if Zanza is not in, if he's sitting down, get him banging with one of those 6'10" guys like Porter or something like that, backing him down and throw up a little hook shot. and kind of get that offensive kind of movement going again. So I think that's what I would do just to get the kind of ball rolling again. And then you know, kick out threes and maybe hopefully we can kind of start heating up like we were in that first half. But it's definitely not, you know, over. You know, we're definitely not losing. WSU still has the lead. 8 points is a good lead, but definitely want to kind of stop this little run that LMU is having and continue our offensive threat.
Dane Erickstrup back into the game for Washington State. He's had a really quiet night for the Cougs. Just a couple of points for him. Ethan Price still stuck at 20 points, but Nate Calmise has had a 17-point game so far for Washington State. And we're back underway after the timeout. And here we go, 65-57. Top of the key, Calmise. Bounce pass to Erickstrup. 3 defenders come to guard him. And this is a really swarming zone from LMU. This ball gets kicked out of bounds, and it'll be Washington State ball. Shot clock will go back to 20 seconds. 9:57 remaining in the game, 65-57. But this defense from LMU disrupting the offense from Washington State. Top of the key, Price looking for a backdoor cut, and Erickstrup doesn't have it. Trying to find somewhere else to go. Favors top of the key, gets the dribble handoff. Bounce pass to Erickstrup, right side. Free throw line, Price swing it to Calmise. Left corner three-pointer on the way. Rattles home for Nate Calmise. He's up to 20 points, and he ties Ethan Price with 20 points. And this ball gets kicked, and they'll blow the whistle to reset it for LMU to inbound. The lead goes back up to 11 points for Washington State.
Yeah, great shot from Calmise where, you know, the Cougs have been in a drought, and that's just a great shot just to keep the offensive ball moving.
68-57, Washington State in front of LMU. And this ball gets deflected, and here comes Calmise. Great pass up ahead to Isaiah Watts. Skies for a two-hand slam, and Washington State back up by 13.
Yeah, almost on his head. A great play from Isaiah Watts, someone that loves to heat up in big moments.
Great dunk from Isaiah Watts. He is an athletic player, smooth player on offense. Vide will drive into the lane and an alley-oop to Rick Asante. And that is an easy money dunk for Rick Asante. He was way above the rim. Calmise snaking his way into the lane. Kick it to Isaiah Watts. Three-pointer on the way. Back rim, no good. Offensive rebound. Favors falling down. Kicks it out to Calmise. His three-pointer, no good. Offensive rebound again for Favors. Great effort from Reeve Favors, the Quinnipiac transfer for Washington State. Top of the key. He's going to try one. Favors for 3. Rattles home. How about it, Reeve Favors?
What a great bucket for him. What a great offensive series. Offensive rebound to three-point bucket.
And he is fired up for Washington State in a timeout called by Stan Johnson and LMU. Washington State roaring back up in front of the Lions. 73-59 is the score. We're going to take a quick break for this timeout. You're listening to KUGR, the student voice of the Palouse. 14-point lead for Washington State back at Orleans Arena in the third round of the WCC Tournament, the 2025 edition of the WCC Tournament. This is Washington State's first appearance in the WCC Tournament, and they're having a little bit of success so far, up by 14, but LMU has been slowly climbing back into this game. Washington State on a quick little run to extend this lead back out to 14 for the Cougars, and we're back underway with 8 minutes and 24 seconds to go. Johnston back into the game for LMU. Yeah, player we highlighted at the beginning of this game, still not really having much of an impact in this game. Amy will juck into the lane and try to slam that over Price, and ended up having to lay it up about 3 feet away from the rim. He was not anywhere close, but he does pick up a foul on Ethan Price. And so that'll be the second foul on the big man for Washington State. And it'll send MJ Amy to the free throw line for the LMU Lions.
And speaking of big man, on the flip side, Dane Erickstrip, with only 2 points right now. Usually he's a scoring weapon, especially a very big shooter, and he has 4 fouls right now. So I don't know if he's like kind of in his head, or I don't know really what's going on, but definitely a huge loss for the offensive side of the ball. And then even on defense, 4 fouls can't happen.
Second free throw good for Amy. He missed one, so he goes 1 of 2 at the free throw line. 73-60 the score. Washington State still up by 13 points. 8:05 to play. Winner goes to play San Francisco here tomorrow night. The 3-seed Dons waiting to see who they'll play. Price on the left wing, guarded by Merck Valalde, who's really had a quiet night as well. A lot of players having a quiet night for LMU, yet they're still right in it with Washington State. Erickstrip, cross-court pass to Vavers. He's right towing the line of the sideline, but he knocks down a corner 3. Kept his heels up. If he put those heels down, he was out of bounds again. But a great shot from Vavers, and it's a 16-point advantage for Washington State. Porter driving hard against Price. Stops in the lane, and an interception by Isaiah Watts. Good bounce pass up ahead to Vavers, and he will sky for a layup, and he gets fouled. A hard collision, and a blocking foul going to be called on LMU. And so Vavers will go to the free throw line for 2 shots. Great transition basketball from Washington State in this game. Isaiah Watts with a really heads-up play with a good bounce pass, a good, like he's skipping a stone right to Vavers.
Extremely great pass. His court vision, like we mentioned before, so underrated. But yeah, he's definitely, I don't want to use maybe the term flashy, but in a great way, like how finesse he is on moving the basketball. We'll throw like a no-look pass in there, and yeah, he can definitely throw some dots.
Vavers knocks down the first free throw for Washington State. Lead back to 17 points for Washington State, 77-60 the score. V-Day is going to check in for LMU. They're going to bring out Asanza, and he'll hit the bench. Lions, they can feel this game starting to slip away a little bit. They were right back in it, cut it to 8, lead back to 17, and lead goes to 18 as Vavers knocks down both free throws. 78-60 for Washington State. V-Day in transition. Leave it at the top of the key. Porter steps into a 3 straight away, and that's good. 78-63. LMU with another made 3-pointer. 7th made 3 of the game. Drive by Ethan Price, and he gets fouled on the way to the bucket. Are they going to call it a shooting foul or they're going to give him 2 shots at the free throw line. He kind of got an arm bar into the ribs. And the 16th foul on LMU. That foul goes on Merkvaladze for LMU. 3rd personal foul for 23 in red. LMU in the all red, Washington State in the all whites with the crimson accents. Price will have 2 free throws at the line. Still stuck at 20 points. He has yet to score in this second half. Calmes has come up and tied him with the leading scorer in the game. Price at the free throw line knocks it down, and he has reclaimed that title of the leading scorer in the game for both teams. Price up to 21 points on the evening. 79-63, the lead for Washington State. Price at the line for one more. Here it is, and it's good. Nothing but nylon for Ethan Price, and Lawan Watts will check into the game for Washington State, and Price will hit the bench with 2 made free throws. He's up to 22 points on the evening, and they lead 80-63 over LMU. 7 minutes to play. Lions and Cougars going at it. Porter cross court to Johnston, inside to Vide, going against Eric Strip with the 4 fouls. Got to be careful. And a floater over the top. Eric Strip bats around the rebound, then clears it to Isaiah Watts, pushing the pace down the right side of the floor. Screen from Favors, behind the back, crossover, snaking through. Good dribble moves from Isaiah Watts. Jumper comes up short, battling for the offensive rebound, and it somehow goes to Lawan Watts, who finds a cutting Eric Strip, who scores with the left hand inside, and it's 82-63. Great effort from Washington State to keep that ball alive, and LMU reeling. Amy will drive inside hard to the lane on an easy right-hand layup. No defense from Washington State really impacting that drive at all. 82-65.
Yeah, that can't happen. I mean, like, having a 19-point lead and then, like, starting to let up, the game is not over. I mean, there is 6 minutes, but can't happen.
Steal by Porter, run out for him, and there's nobody around, and he'll slam it home with the right hand. And that's a quick 4-0 run for LMU that is really avoidable for Washington State. They get a live ball turnover, easy dunk for Porter, and then they also stop playing defense on that last drive by Amy. And so the lead 15 for Washington State. And that's just not a good thing for Washington State to give any sort of life back to LMU at this point in the game. It's 82-67 with 6 minutes to go.
Yeah, you don't want to give teams life, and 15 points is a lot different than per se 20 or 19 or 18 points. And, anything under that, you can definitely give teams hope. And you don't want to give a team like LMU that just came off of a win yesterday and they have a chip on their shoulder like Pepperdine. That's what Oregon State did, and that's why they're going to go home. And, for the Cougs, we definitely don't want that as well.
Yeah, Oregon State, that was a tough game for Beaver fans across the nation. That, getting upset by Pepperdine was not a good thing. And maybe, I don't know if Washington State was watching that game, but you kind of see that happen and you realize, oh, this is real. Our season could be over today if we lose to LMU. And they've come out and played a good game of basketball, but a couple of different times they've let off the gas. They have to be able to put the foot down and stop LMU from thinking they can be in this game. Washington State back to work on offense. 5 minutes and 50 seconds remaining. 82-67. They have the lead. Favors sidestep, thought about a three, now passes to Calmes at the top of the key. Back to Favors on the right wing. And they're just going back and forth with each other. Calmes to the left wing. Has Thrasherson in the corner. Instead, lobs it inside to Lawan Watts. Kick out to Eric Strip. Three-pointer straight away, and he left it way short. And it goes barely off the front of the rim. Merkvaladze diving on the ground, and heaps of players down there. It's a rugby scrum right in the middle of the key, and Washington State has possession arrow in their favor, and they'll retain possession. And Stone Carwell into the game for Vide. And Vide is actually going to go back in because Stan Johnson wanted Amy to come out. Stan Johnson, the former Marquette coach. We saw Marquette lose today at the buzzer to St. John's and the Big East. That's heating up. That's something to remember, too, that WCC has a really early tournament. A lot of teams still playing their regular season matches, and those bigger conferences, they're yet to start their tournaments. Lawan Watts gets the inbound. Calmes on the left wing. Thought about driving in. Sizing up the defender. Here he comes. Right in, and an alley-oop to Lawan Watts, and that was a little bit too tall, and Ethan Price will sky in the air, and he's going to get a timeout off the miss alley-oop attempt, and Ethan Price points to the head and says, that's a really smart play. And so it is a smart play. Washington State will keep possession with 7 seconds to shoot, 82-67. We'll take a quick break and be back on the other side. You're listening to KOGR, the student voice of the Palouse. Just 7 seconds left to shoot for Washington State off the timeout. They lead it by 15 with 5 minutes and 14 seconds left. Inbound to Lawan Watts to Cal Meese, the inbounder. 4 seconds to shoot. Sizing up Stone Carrawell. Driving hard down the right lane. High off the glass. Hits the rim, so it'll reset, but a rebound for Porter. Doesn't matter. Here comes Johnson. Transition three-pointer on the way. Off the rim, no good. An offensive rebound, but a foul for Vide. And so Johnson just ice cold today. Has really not been his night in any sort of way. He is 1 of 8 from the field, 1 of 7 from the three-point line. Just 3 points for the player that we highlighted. Thought he could be a impact player in this game, but it has just not been his night.
No, it has not been at all. And I don't know if us talking about it maybe changes a little bit of something, but gosh, just to put on a performance like he did yesterday. But then kind of on the flip side, think about Pepperdine, Mo Odom. He definitely didn't have a 31-point performance, but definitely clutched up again and had some clutch free throws in that beating of Oregon State. So, yeah, just kind of too bad for him. And now for LMU, it's kind of getting within, 5 minutes. They're going to have to maybe try to start coming back a little bit quicker.
LMU will have a 1-and-1 with Vide at the free throw line. His first one is good. 82-68. Washington State has a 14-point lead. And we talked about the guard matchups to start this game. Cal Meese has by far had the better game. He's got 20 points to just Johnston's 3, but it's also been other things for Cal Meese. Great passes, great looks, great defensive plays from Cal Meese as Vide knocks down the second one and lead goes to 13 for Washington State. But definitely the point guard matchup has gone in favor of Washington State, and that's a big reason why they have this lead that they do over LMU. 82-69, LMU still hanging around with under 5 minutes to play. Cal Meese top of the key against Vide. Had a open lane if he wanted it, instead decides to not take it. Take some more time off the clock. Inside the Price, cross-court pass to Favors. Pump fake, gets Stone Carrawell to maneuver around, and Favors with a pure stroke from the three-point line. He's been sensational so far this evening for Washington State. 85-69 the score. WSU in front of LMU. Porter, pump fake on Price, driving into the free throw line. Kick it out to Stone Carrawell. Right corner, three-pointer on the way is good for LMU. And the lead still hanging around 13 points. It's been 15, kind of 13, right around that mark, the almost entirety of the second half of this second half. Lawan Watts gets it to Tomas Thrasterson on the left wing. Bounce passes to the free throw line with Lawan Watts looking for Price. Hasn't taken his eyes off of him. Good pass to Thrasterson. Bounce pass down low to Ethan Price. Underneath the basket. Turn around, and he got the ball blocked out of his hands, and it's in the hands of Vide, racing up the floor for LMU. He'll hang in the air, and it's a turnover to Cal Meese. Run out for him. One-on-one against Porter, and he'll work the ball out and take more time off the clock, and a good decision from Nate Cal Meese to not force anything. Now he'll drive into the lane, and he'll get an easy look at the rim, and a good layup for Nate Cal Meese with a right-hand layup. And he just lulled the defense to sleep and then attacked them.
Kind of tricked us as well. We thought he was going to chew up more time, but didn't. Got an easy 2 for him.
Porter, pump fake, drives in, trying to do it all himself, and it's going to be a travel. His headband got knocked off, and a turnover again for LMU, and a timeout on the floor. The under 4 media timeout, 87-72. Josiah, this has been a good Washington State game, but a couple of times LMU coming back and maybe looking like they can come back, but Washington State has answered most of the questions that LMU has posed.
Yeah, absolutely. And right now the Cougs leading by 15. Fans even starting to trickle out a little bit. kind of maybe indicating that something might be kind of near the end. So hopefully for the Cougs right now, just wanting to continue kind of what they have been doing. I mean, for LMU, it's kind of do or die right now, especially within 3 minutes. It's kind of you have to go now. And for a team like LMU, they're not looking at probably making the tournament. It's win or go home, and that's kind of the thing, especially in a conference like the WCC, where the only teams that really get a ton of talk are Gonzaga, of course, and St. Mary's this year, and everybody else. They have to do well in the tournament if they want a shot at a national title. And LMU is no exception to that. So right now, if I'm Coach Johnson kind of in that huddle, I'm telling my team it's kind of now or never.
Absolutely. It's got to happen now for LMU and for Washington State. They have to also be able to avoid any sort of run that can happen. Pepperdine had that run against Portland. They scored 46 points in 12 minutes. So if you cut that down, it's just a 15-point lead for Washington State. Anything is possible. That's just 5 threes to score for LMU, and they've made a couple already. They've made 9 threes in this game, so not unreasonable for LMU if they wanted to possibly come back in this game. But Washington State's done a really good job to weather a lot of these different little spurts from the LMU Lions, and I think Washington State just has to be feeling really confident in this huddle, knowing that they've scored 87 points and that there's still about 3 minutes remaining in this game. So their offense has definitely been clicking. They're still shooting over 50%. They're at 52.5 in the game. That's really an absurd amount, honestly. For basketball, around 30 to 40% is probably an average for a game like this in a tournament where things don't always go your way. You don't necessarily play your best game all the time. So the fact that Washington State has 52% shooting in this game really goes to show how well they've played in this game.
Yeah, it's been great. And right now, a total of 87 points. The Cougs, not usually averaging those high of numbers, and there's still 3 minutes left. What you really do love to see how well the offensive game has paid off tonight with a pair of 22-point performances from Ethan Price and Nate Calmes. I feel like Calmes have been just nearly silent. Like you'll see him, score a bucket or two, but 22, it definitely hasn't seemed like he scored 22, but that's what it says on the papers and on the board. So love to see him. Yeah,
been a quiet night for Calmes, but it's been a really good night for Calmes.
Amazing night.
He's not made a lot of splashes, but 22 points and an inbound to Favors, and he's immediately fouled by LMU trying to get a steal on the inbounds. And Lawan Watts coaching up Nate Calmes, trying to tell him where to go to get open, and they did get it into Favors instead of getting that 5-second violation. Reed Favors has had a really good game as well for Washington State. He's got 4 made threes in this game. He's up to 14 points, and that's not really what he averages. He averages about 4.8 points per game, so he's well over his average, and he's had a big impact on this game. So he's at the free throw line for a 1-and-1, and he knocks home the first one, 88-72 the score.
Free throws like these are crucial if you want to extend this lead and just kind of suck the life out of LMU. You don't want to give them any shot, especially in crunch minutes.
Second free throw, nothing but net, and it's 89-72. Washington State in front of the Lions. Top of the key, Johnson gives it to Porter. He's going to fire a 3. That's no good. And Lawan Watts skies for an excellent rebound. Lawan Watts double-double in this game. 12 points, 12 rebounds for Washington State. Actually, that rebound's going to put him up to 13 rebounds. Great night from Lawan Watts with a double-double. Calmes asking for a screen for Andy Okafor. Gets it to Favors. This is his 5th 3. No good. And that's a miss off the rim and a rebound for Tomas Thrasserson inside. And the shot clock will reset to 20. Washington State can take a couple more seconds off the timer. Great look from Favors. Just didn't get it to go down. 10 seconds to shoot. Calmes will get a screen from Okafor. Step back 3-pointer straight away off the back of the rim. Karam's off to Vide and LMU running. MJ Amy in transition. Top of the key. Merkeladze inside to Porter. Rejected by ND Okafor. And it will stay with LMU. But a great defensive play for Washington State. Limiting these opportunities for Loyola Marymount.
Yeah, probably a stop and a bucket. That could maybe be some of the final nails in the coffin for this game as we're within or nearing the 2-minute mark.
2 minutes, 18 seconds remaining. 89-72, Washington State in front. Johnston inbound to Merkveladze against Tomas Rasmussen on the short corner. Drive it against the Icelandic native. Cross-court pass to Lewis inside, hanging in the air, and layup goes. And Lewis up to 6 points. He's had a couple of really athletic moves. Did not score on Thursday in their 100-point game against San Diego. Only had 2 points in the first meeting against Washington State in the year. So really good night for Lewis. Rasmussen leaves it for Isaiah Watts. Right side to Parker Garretts. Jabbing a couple of times, trying to get free. Crossover picked up by Merkveladze. Pump fake, pass inside to Okafor. Turnaround, hook shot, good. 91-74, Washington State up. A zip pass from Johnston gets deflected, and it goes out of bounds off of Lewis, and it's going to go to Washington State. And another turnover for LMU, and Johnston just has had a nightmare night. 2 turnovers, 2 personal fouls, and just 3 points on 1 of 8 shooting.
Yeah, and I think that's why right now, a little bit of chirping.
Yeah, Okafor and Merkveladze going at it.
No, that's
yeah,
awful.
You got to be smart for Washington State. You got the lead. Everything's in your favor. Isaiah Watts pointing at the scoreboard to Okafor, telling him, hey, we're up.
Right.
There's no reason for this. If LMU is going to start something, just walk away.
Yeah. This game is just about over. 1:32 left. Cougs up by 17. Another bucket pretty much solidifies it. Now officials going to the scorers table. Now they're probably looking.
Yeah, they're going to see if there's a flagrant foul.
Oh, geez, a flagrant. That's not what you need is free throws and another offensive opportunity.
Yeah,
oh,
you cannot afford any sort of plays at all. It's going to take a miracle for LMU to make this game a game again.
Right.
Down 17, but you can't give them any sort of life at all. And especially for Andy Okafor and anything to take away from this great game from Washington State. They scored 91 points against LMU, but don't want to be remembered for something different than any other thing than great basketball. And so the refs telling both teams to stay in their respective bench areas. Case Wynot has checked into the game for Washington State. The Lapwai, Idaho superstar, one of the best players in the state of Idaho in really history. He's had a good season for Washington State. Not a lot of minutes, but when he gets in the game, he plays hard. He is a freshman, so he makes some freshman plays, but those things that are also freshman plays are just giving more effort than other players would because they know that they don't always have to give that much effort because they can get away with it because they're so talented. But Case Wynot comes into the game and he plays so hard. He makes so many great plays for Washington State. So good for him to get into this game against LMU in a conference tournament. Still waiting on the call.
Yeah, Case Wynot hailing from the state of Idaho. Luape, I believe that's how you pronounce where he's from. But yeah, definitely a bucket from there. And yeah, definitely fitting into a very different role here at Washington State, where over at his high school hometown, he was their guy, their offense revolved around him. And here, just trying to step up and do whatever he can for the team.
Yeah, he broke Idaho's all-time scoring record with nearly 3,000 career points in high school.
Flagrant 2 technical on 22 White. He's disqualified. It's not a fight. He can't play tomorrow.
Wow. So ND Okafor gets ejected from the game, but the ref does make the important clarification that because it's not a fight, ND Okafor can play tomorrow in the game against San Francisco. I believe he said he can play tomorrow because it's not a fight.
Okay.
It's a flagrant 2 foul. So Okafor gets ejected. But because it was not a fight, he can play tomorrow, is I believe what the official said. We'll have to get confirmation on that. But Okafor will head to the locker room and gets ejected from the game. And it'll put Johnston at the free throw line. And didn't get to see a replay on that either. There was a flagrant 2 in the Oregon State Pepperdine game that we did get to see. And so not really sure what happened as Johnston knocks down the free throw. Score goes to 91-75, but that just puts a damper on the game that was really good from Washington State, but an ejection late in the game. Johnston will knock down the second free throw, and LMU cuts the lead to 15 for Washington State with a minute and a half to go, and it's just back to 5 threes. So just kind of takes the life out of the arena with Okafor getting ejected.
Yikes. Also want to mention Tayon Simmons checking to the game for the first time, I think ever, like his first minutes of the season.
Top of the key, three-pointer on the way. Johnston airballed it, and he got none of anything, and that is just, yeah, kind of indicative of the night that he's had, and just really, really unfortunate.
Yeah, it's been rough for him. And, luckily, we're playing Washington State, and that's, of course, we are rooting for, of course, and would love to see them win. And it's getting nearer and nearer to that fate that the Cougs will be moving on to tomorrow if everything works out. But, yeah, definitely kind of sad for him to see how he played yesterday and just not translating.
Yeah, definitely unfortunate for a player of his caliber to have this kind of devastating night that he's had. Kind of nightmare feel for him as a whistle is blown as Parker Garrett's was trying to get free. He'll go to the free throw line for 2 shots as Washington State, or he'll go to the free throw line for a 1-and-1 as LMU has 8 fouls in the half. 91-76 the score. Correction will be Isaiah Watts to the free throw line. First free throw for Isaiah Watts is good, and it's 92-76. But again, Andy Okafor getting ejected from this game. We'll have to get confirmation on his eligibility for tomorrow, but I believe the referee said that he can play tomorrow. Watts misses the second free throw. MJ Amy rushing up the floor for LMU. We got to get something quick to the basket. Turnaround hook, no good. Tomas Thrasserson gets the rebound for Washington State. And LMU going to try to maybe get a steal, and they're going to back off their pressure. Under 1 minute to play. Washington State up by 16, and the writing is on the wall for LMU that their season is going to come to an end tonight in Las Vegas. They extended it by 1 game after beating San Diego yesterday. Isaiah Watts toying with Javon Porter. Good pass to Tayon Sessoms down low. Good find to Tomas Thrasserson, and the assist for Tayon Sessoms. Excellent play. And a whistle is going to be blown. They're going to sub in Ristic. And it'll take MJ Amy to the corner, and Porter will go out of the game. 41 seconds to go. 18-point lead for Washington State. Great close to this game for a team that sometimes has had trouble closing games. Tessum's getting on the floor, poking it away from Vide, and both teams still playing hard. Even though there's just 32 seconds left in this game. Jump ball arrow favoring the Lions, and it'll stay down on the right side of the floor with LMU. They'll get a baseline inbound.
Possession Lions.
Vide will come to check it in. They're taking all of their starters out of the game. And a foul is going to be called on the inbound. Lewis got it, and then he got fouled immediately, so he'll go to the free throw line for 2 shots. Washington State over the limit in the half. They've got 10-plus fouls, so 2 shots coming for Lewis. But what a night for Washington State. It's going to be a party tonight for the Cougars for sure. They'll play San Francisco tomorrow. Lewis knocks down the free throw. 17-point lead for Washington State with 32 seconds remaining. But that should be a great game between the Dons and the Cougars. Split the season series 1-1, and that's a good sign for Washington State, already knowing that they can beat that team. Second free throw missed, and Sessoms will bring it up the floor for Washington State with 25 seconds. A 1-second differential between the shot and game clock, so they can't quite end the game on this possession. Sessoms going against MJ Amy. He's got the ball on a string. Left wing, looking for something. And David Riley saying to not shoot it, just dribble it around. They give it to Garretts, and Sessoms doesn't want the turnover on his record. He gets it to Garretts, who will hold it, and a shot clock violation with 1.4 seconds to go. And LMU will just inbound it with the last 1.4 second to play. And that will be all she wrote for Washington State and LMU. The Lions season is going to come to an end, but Washington State will advance. They'll inbound it with 1.4, and that will do it. The buzzer sounds. Washington State gets the 94-77 victory over LMU. What a performance by a lot of different players for Washington State. Excellent performance from Price and Cal Meese to lead the way. LaJuan Watts with a double-double. Really nice game from Washington State, and they will play tomorrow along with the girls team. The Washington State women's team will play Pacific, and then the men's team will play against San Francisco later tomorrow night. Josiah, what are your quick reactions to this game? Fantastic performance from everybody involved in Washington State to get the 17-point win over LMU.
Yes, I think firstly you got to look at the glass half full, and I think WSU had an amazing performance, especially a stellar first half, and the second half definitely got turned around and was a continued success of the first half. Loved how the offense could keep on moving. WSU scoring nearly 100 points, which you don't see a ton from college teams kind of in general. And then kind of looking at some things maybe we could maybe work on, or at least we're just a little discouraging. That Okafor ejection really just kind of rubbed me the wrong way of, you really don't want that to happen, especially in a close game, or it really wasn't a close game, but could have been allowed a close game like that. So just kind of want to see, tempers and things of those natures kind of slow down a little bit. But, all in all, a dub's a dub. Moving on to the quarterfinals, playing a good San Francisco team, but I believe a good San Francisco team, a good Santa Clara team, that we can beat. So it's going to be some fun basketball kind of coming up, both on the WSU men's side and WSU women's side as well.
Yeah, Washington State will play San Francisco tomorrow night, and Oregon State gets eliminated by Pepperdine earlier tonight, so their season comes to an end. So Washington State, the two affiliate members, they have a little bit longer of a season than Oregon State, so some bragging rights there. But good night for all involved. Ethan Price finishes with 22 points. Nate Calmese also with 22 points. LaJuan Watts gets a double-double with 13 rebounds and 12 points, and it'll be a great day tomorrow. We'll have a full day of basketball. We'll be here to call the Pacific and Washington State women's game. Then we'll be here for the Santa Clara Pepperdine game. And then again, the nightcap with Washington State and San Francisco. That's going to be a great game between the number 3 seed and the number 6 seed. Should be a fantastic night of basketball tomorrow night. Washington State gets the 94-77 win, and so we'll say so long from Las Vegas for tonight. And so for Josiah, Frank, and KUGR, I'm Dave Hagen saying so long from Vegas. Enjoy your evening, everyone. Thank you so much for listening.